Welcome back to What Arty Noobs to a General Disturbance. This is the SU-14-2. It's a Tier 8 Soviet SPG. It's located on the north spawn of Pilsen, and this one is under the command of PurplePlayersLoveArty less. Well, the less clan anyway. Certainly Purple players don't particularly like Arty unless they are Arty experts. Okay, well, the school bus, as it became known, because after all it is rather big and it does resemble a school bus, well, sort of, not completely, is armed with a 203mm howitzer, the B4 howitzer, capable of doing 900 alpha and penetrating 52mm of armour. It does have a rather long standard reload, 42.19 seconds. It's a standard reload, and Purple Players has got 36.32, so he's already reduced it quite a bit. Now, it does have a very big footprint as well. If he can get the shell near the enemy, oh, Purple Players fired that round in, didn't even bother to stop and see what he'd done. He was on the move straight away. So I don't think we even saw if that did any damage whatsoever. It might have hit something, but we didn't see the explosion. So I think we'll just have to take control of the camera. Okay, do we see where the shell landed? Not really. Now I think you can see here that the blast radius is 10.4 meters. It's very, very big indeed. Down on the railway line we can see the standard B. Well, he managed to miss that hit. The shell went long and actually landed behind him. In the meantime, we're looking at a T-54 first prototype. Managed to make his way into the coal pits, but he's up against the Leopard prototype A. Now this is a Tier 10 game with Tier 8 tanks in it, and that means that Purple Players is a bottom tier Arty. Going for the 116F3. That's a new tank. Okay, he's loaded. Rounds out straight away. We didn't see the result of that one either. I should have held the camera because he's got this tendency to move the moment he fires, even not bothering to check and see if he's actually done any damage. And that's kind of important because if you don't check to see if you've actually hit the enemy, you might actually miss out on actually wounding an enemy tank, which is still sitting there. And if you fire at exactly the same spot again, there's a fairly good chance you might actually catch him twice. Okay, over on the west side of the map, he's looking through the factories. There's a couple of enemy tanks behind that wall, but he can't hit those because they're hiding at the moment. They don't want to come out because there's an FV215B, the heavy tank, the British heavy tank, that's now in the collector's list. And oh, this is interesting. He's got a Shrek that's actually behind that house, and he changes his target because that 116F3 is spotted, and he's trying to adjust his aim. Rounds out. Well, it did hit near the spot where the 116 was last seen, so I think there's a fairly good chance that he did actually damage that guy. Now, some of you might have wondered why the videos are put up for Soviet vehicles and actually have Ukrainian markings on them. Well, that came about because of the invasion of Ukraine. We won't put any Russian vehicle or any vehicle that was actually manufactured in Russia up on our channel until Russia leaves Ukraine, and that means completely direct hit on the mouse. So until they leave, yeah, all their vehicles are going to be marked as Ukrainian, because after all, Ukraine was actually in the war on our side during the Second World War, and therefore, yes, their vehicles are being marked as such. And also, you may notice that our Arty are also getting Ukrainian markings. Yes, there's not a single Soviet symbol in the game. You'll only see Ukrainian flags on the vehicles. Rounds out. Direct hit on the front plate of the mouse. Remember, it's only the driver up front, and the mouse just got taken out And I think he was taken out from behind, yes, because there's some tanks slightly to the west on our team. We've actually managed to get that, and they've just killed the M4-49 Liberté. We did lose our FV215B though, taken out by a Char Future 4, and I think he's nearby guarding the Arty. There's only one Arty on the enemy team. It's an M40, M43, and more than likely he's up in this area of the map. Now we're watching as Purple Players styles in, but he's changed his mind again, and this time round he's going for the UDIS. Trying to follow it. Okay, he's now adjusting his aim. Can't seem to get a shot lined up. That's a particularly high coal pit there, not pit there, but a high pile of coal, and therefore it's very difficult to get the shell over the top of it. Instead, he's settling for an E75 who's managed to stray into this spot and takes a direct hit for 335 and some stun assist afterwards. He's focusing on this one for the moment, holding his aim here. E75 has gone. Now, they're 3 up on the enemy at the moment, but the enemy still has a number of tanks over on the east side of the map. In fact, now Purple Players is aiming over to the southwest corner of the map, where we expect the enemy Arty to be. And there's a Char Future 4 somewhere up there as well. We're almost loaded, so this could be fun, because he might actually get some serious damage. There's the enemy Arty. He's gone. Now, where's that Char Future 4? He was up there. There he is. He is in sight, but Purple Players just adjusting his aim, trying to work out where the enemy's going. And no, he decided he wasn't going to shoot after all. Well, we're still 3 up on the enemy. Unfortunately, we lost the tanks that were attacking that corner of the map. So even though the enemy's lost their Arty, they've still got that Char Future 4. And we do have a UDIS. Let's see if he can get a shot on this guy. Okay, he's right on the edge there. Rounds out. Oh, good shot. Yes, he did get a hit there for 347. There you go. You see the Ukrainian colours on the vehicle. Now, the school bus is actually a development of the SU-14, which in itself was based on the T-35 heavy tank. The Soviets took that tank during the 30s and modified it by turning it into an SPG, but it was an open-topped SPG, and that became eventually known as the SU-14, and then they modified it again, it became the SU-14-1, and then of course the designer of that tank, who had actually angered Stalin, was sent to a gulag, and his vehicles were shelved. But even though they were shelved, the vehicles were put into storage, and during the Second World War they were modified again. They became the school bus, the SU-14-2, by having a radio and also that cover, the casement, mounted on top to protect the crew from shell splinters, and they were put into action. In fact, they were put into action from the very same place where they're currently located, which is Kubinka, the tank museum in Moscow. And you can actually find one of these at the tank museum, although it's bright green in colour, it's not all camouflage and everything. It's a huge beast, it really is. Well, it is based on a heavy tank after all. Now, something that you can see that Purple Players has done is he's actually moved over to the east side of the map, and that may be down to the fact that the enemy team seems to have free run of the west side of the map at the moment. Yeah, so unfortunately, the team kind of, well, he managed that, landed that one near the Minotauro for 113. Yes, the team kind of let the west side of the map fall into the enemy hands when the attack force, who was going down that end of the map, actually got wiped out. He did get some stun assists there off the Minotauro being hit, and he's on the move again. Now, it does make sense for him to do this. I don't think that that enemy tank indicated on the mini-map on the railway line is still there. So I think he's safe from that guy, but he definitely doesn't want to be near his cap area. And I think that may be the SU-14-2 that's actually capping at the moment. We don't have anyone to spot for us over there. In fact, an enemy Chimera's just turned up, not the SU-2, and it looks like he's headed straight for the spot where Purple Players was last seen. And he suddenly found that there's no Arty there. Yes, that's because Purple Players knows to move. He knows that he has to move if he wants to stay alive. In fact, now he's on the move again, and he's headed south yet again. And the Leopard prototype is headed into try and find that Chimera. As far as we know, they only ever made 2 SU-14-2s. Not a lot, but then they were kind of short on resources during the Second World War, and Stalin was more interested in building tanks than he was in actually building Arty, although Arty are very much of consideration to the Soviets. They based a lot of their strategy on Arty. There's only one enemy left. It's this Forest Spirit, an SU-130 PM variant that Wargaming's brought out, and he's just been killed, and that is the end of the game. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was an ace tanker game for PurplePlayersLoveArty in the SU-14-2. He managed to get a bruise in the middle for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 9, and he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. He says he doesn't know if he still likes this Arty. He's very unsure if he does. It's rather slow, it's very big, it's very easy to wipe out, but he does get good results with it because he's got a win rate of 2,982, which is on the cusp of Super Unicum. Let's have a look at the team scores. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in that game because that went to the Leopard prototype with 3,421 hit points, but he didn't get a high caliber because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. Second highest damage in the game went to the E-75 on the enemy team, one of the tanks that he did hit, Purple Players hit. He got 3,355 hit points, and the third highest was the SU-4 on the enemy team with 3,221. We can see that Purple Players actually he came in 5th place on damage because the Minotauro scored slightly more than he did. He got 3,069, whereas Purple Players got 3,041. So yes, just a little out. Not a huge amount anyway. That's something in his favour. It's only 28 hit points overall, so not a lot. But when it came to kills, we can see that the high scorer was the Lorraine 40-ton. He got 3 kills in the game, and then there's a whole bunch of people who managed to get 2 kills, including the Mauerbreaker, the Striv 103B, the Scorpion G, the IS-7, and on the enemy team, their SU-4, and I think that's the Minotauro, that one there, who got 2 kills. Or is it the Minotauro? It's somebody anyway. Oh, it's the Forest Spirit. That's what it is, yes, because they haven't registered that one yet, so it's still showing up as an unknown. And I'm afraid, yes, Purple Players didn't get any kills at all, but that actually did help him to get that Confederate. When it came to base XP, yes, he's top with 1,275. The next highest being the Leopard prototype with 1,066, and they were the only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000, with the Mauerbreaker coming in just behind with 956. And I think you'll see that that may be down to the stun assist that Purple Players managed to get. He only fired 12 rounds, but he got 6 direct hits on the enemy, 0 penetrations though, and 12 splashes. Well, we didn't see some of those direct hits because he actually looked away too quickly, and so we never saw if they may have been blind direct hits. He definitely did get some direct hits, so 2 on the mouse, and 1 direct hit on the E-75. 3,041 hit points of damage, of which 2,788 were at more than 300 meters. So there was some close range shots there, even though he may not have realized how close he was. I think that may have been on the Chimera. 8 enemy vehicles were damaged, none were killed, but he did get 2,490 hit points of stun assist off 11 stuns, and that certainly helped him to get the ace tanker. On a free-to-play account, he earned 42,426 credits from the battle, 21,213 credits from personal reserves, 15,000 for mission completion, 78,639 altogether, and after ammunition resupply took away 55,719 credits profit. 1,275 base XP times 2 for the first victory, 637 from personal reserves took away 3,187 experience points altogether. Yes, I'm afraid it's a love-hate relationship with Artys, which are very, very slow. I'm afraid the school bus is one of them. The SU-14-2 is another. The GW Tiger P is another. These are very slow Artys. They're very big Artys. And as a consequence, they're very vulnerable because, of course, they can't get away from the enemy. They can't relocate very easily. They have to pick a spot during the battle and stick to it. Or if they do think that they might be threatened, do what Purple Players did and relocate. But you can't get very far. And if the enemy's fast, they'll normally track you down and get rid of you. So well done that Purple Players actually did have the thought of mind, the presence of mind, I should say, to actually move south quickly to get out of the way of some of those enemy tanks that were coming in his direction. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.